1950, you had one great movie about film, Sunset Boulevard, and you had one great film about theater, All About Eve. All About Eve is probably the best film ever made about theater. And wow, is this ever an incredible film? It's got probably Bette Davis's best performance, and Anne Baxter, who's the antagonist of the film. She's one of the most underrated villains in film history. I gotta say, this movie's all about lies and betrayal and deceit and backstabbing and other than and theater, but other than all that kind of stuff, it's about life in general, friendship, and that's what I was loving about the film. Sure, I love films about theater and all that kind of stuff, but when just life in general is placed in the foreground, also, you know that something's done really well. So it deals with this really amazing theater actress named Margot Channing, who's played wonderfully by Bette Davis. She seems to have it all, but she's not really a nice woman. And one day she gets approached by this young up and comer who's a huge fan of hers. Her name's Eve Harrington, played graciously by Anne Baxter. And so Eve worms her way into Margot's affairs and her profession. It's really cool seeing seeing life of theater and everything, but ultimately what this movie has going for it is the characters. Sure, the movie centers on Margot and Eve, but we get to know a whole lot about the supporting cast also. And while the movie is happening, like the way that the themes and the writing is happening, and everything's unfolding, it's better than normal. It's better than perfect. And we're just thrilled. We're entranced by everything. Everything that this movie has going for it, there's just layers and layers on top of one another. Like, both Margot and Eve are so heavily layered. I was loving every second of this film. But the one thing that I just adore about this film, aside from the layers and the characters and all that, is this is so immersive. I absolutely love it when movies really suck you deep into the moment and just have you going like, it makes it tough for you to return to reality when the credits start to roll. The movie is it's a little under 2.5 hours long. I would have loved for it to have been even longer. I'm not saying it needed to be longer, but if it was, like hypothetically, if it was, I would have loved it. And if it was longer, it would have helped and to sucker the viewer into the moment even more. Would have increased that immersive experience. So when watching All About Eve, it just sucks so deep into the moment. It's like, well, you could reach for a drink right beside you and see black and white. That's how so deep into the film that you are. What an incredible film this is. Every single little bit of this film, off the charts. I'm gonna give All About Eve from 1950 4 stars out of 4.